what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. No, damn it, the nature of Earth. I will get there eventually. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Righteous Force, Paul and 10th Man in G+ and Skype. Good to have you all.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And
Hello.
we're also joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord as well, so welcome one and all.
Hey, Nathan.
Hello, lots of quiet people.
That was Red. He's got a bad mic during the day because he's on his phone.
Totally can relate.
It's okay.
Any evidence of the old Earth curvature? Anybody?
Oh, still looking for it, Nathan.
Nothing here.
No distant rumblings about Earth curvature? No accounts of people trying to beg the question with curve calculators? Nothing at all? About
No,
axial rotation of the Earth-based variety.
Nothing.
No, there would be Earth-based Coriolis if that was the case, but there isn't any of that either.
Yeah, worth mentioning that to have Earth-based Coriolis, Earth would require two reference frames. Earth being the non-inertial spinning reference frame, the atmosphere being the inertial reference frame. So, if you sat on a roundabout, analogous to the spinning ball Earth, and you hold in your hand a drone, and in the other hand you hold a remote control, and you slowly spin around on the roundabout, and then at one point you push the stick up and the drone goes up to a given position and hovers. Now it's staying in the same position, it's not moving left, right, up or down, it's just hovering in one position. Now from your position underneath the drone appears to get closer and further away, as you rotate underneath the drone. So the apparent deviation, i.e. looking like it comes closer and looking like it gets further away, is an apparent deviation due to you rotating underneath and not the drone actually coming closer to you physically by moving. You're moving, the drone isn't. Now that's analogous to Earth if it had a Coriolis effect. So to have Coriolis on Earth, you'd need the Earth rotating in the same exact way underneath the drone. So you hold a drone on a spinning Earth, you press your up stick, and Earth would rotate underneath that drone, or helicopter, or aeroplane, or, as Neil deGrasse Tyson claims, a football that travels in a straight line with the posts of the goal moving underneath to cause the field goal to go through. But if you can observe it as Neil deGrasse Tyson claims in a football, observe the Earth rotating underneath, that is, then the Earth rotates underneath aeroplanes, and a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina, typically about 4.5 hours, would take an hour and a half, because the Earth would be rotating underneath. Likewise, a drone would leave your hand when you push the up stick, and without moving at all, you could just wait for the street across the road to come to it. That's Coriolis effect. Sorry, go on.
We might have a challenge for the Coriolis. Somebody posted in Discord a Wolfie video that just came out yesterday, titled "The Coriolis effect is no problem for aircraft if you catch my drift."
Oh, Wolfie just, I don't know. If it's anything got to do with Wolfie, then it's not going to be true.
Wolfie
What's
couldn't
that?
tie his shoes without a freaking fleet of slobber nurses, dude.
What
Well, we
Wolfie
got a
needs-
baller who presented the video. Maybe they can summarize what happened in the video.
Maybe.
Nathan just summarized it. I mean, it's just that simple. He can't debunk that.
In order for Wolfie's claim of an
Yeah, it's
apparent
reality.
drift, so if he's saying there is an apparent drift of the aeroplane, because there is a Coriolis effect claimed to be on the spinning ball Earth reification fantasy, well, he's claiming there's an apparent drift. That's his word, drift. Now, what does that mean? It means that you standing on the non-inertial spinning ball Earth would see the plane deviate, drift from your position because the plane moves in a straight line and you rotate underneath. Now, the plane's not actually turning left or turning right, it's moving in a straight line. The apparent drift is you rotating underneath. Like on the roundabout with the drone, it seems to get closer and further away because you rotate underneath. So if Wolfie's claiming that planes have an apparent drift, he's claiming the Earth rotates underneath planes. And you'd have a massively shortened duration of flight when travelling towards the west. Patently absurd. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they show. They can't show any curvature for this ball that they say. And if it's a ball, it's got to have curvature. And they can't show any rotation. And if you can't show rotation, it's not spinning. And if it's not spinning, there's no gravity. And they don't even know what that is either. This is nonsense. These people are stupid.
Yeah, but they're trying so hard.
Well, of course, they have to try hard because it's the vampires out in the daylight now. There's light shining on the lie.
It burns us.
Hey,
Oh, hey, Arwen.
Hey, Arwen. That's
Hello.
good. You sound like a hobbit there. It burns us. Give me second breakfast.
No, it burns us. It burns us.
My precious.
That's great. Yeah,
No.
that's exactly what it is.
Get
It's
it
my
off
precious.
me.
Talking of burns, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Yeah, not
No.
measured.
Oh, sorry.
There's a few people in who've joined us since Discord. Check everyone's unmuted. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Only in sci-fi.
Every time I hear it, I just have to snicker a little. It's just so convoluted. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have any purpose either.
Well, they got to have it.
Convoluted the way I say it.
No, but they don't.
Well, that's where they get their gravity, right? That's how they say it.
What? They don't even know what gravity is.
No, we know that too. They don't know what gravity is, but they say it
Right.
starts there.
So
the
they don't
magnetism.
need molten iron core for the magnetics. They don't need it for gravity because they don't know what gravity is. So it's just there, like a random painting. It doesn't make any
Ah.
damn sense.
It's to fill the space.
So what you're really saying is, in the days when they can make up stuff, this stuff they wish they never made up because they don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's too late. They made it up. They got to stick to it. Oh, you say there's Coriolis? Too bad. You got to stick to it. Oh, you say the Earth is a curve? Show it me. No. See, they made all this stuff up, and now when you're shining the light and saying, prove it, they can't. They wish they never said any of those three things.
Maybe. Or maybe they could simply figure out, oh, wait, it was a mistaken interpretation by our scientists of the data, and it turned out to be actually quite different.
No,
It
no,
turns
no,
out to
no.
be
There's no
like a
take backs.
solid sodium core within some kind of thingy, and there's separate lava pockets now.
No, no,
No?
no, no,
Changing the laws.
Yeah,
Hold
just
on.
like with the atmosphere being supposedly within range of the physical moon, as it were.
Go on,
All
QE.
that. They do it there. Why wouldn't they do it here?
No, 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 no. There are no take backs. It is what it is. It is what they said it is. That's it.
Until they change it.
Well,
No, 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 no.
that's what I thought QE was going to say, so I'll say instead. So, a couple of things. Right. Number one, natural laws happen always. That's why they're laws. They don't get superseded. That's the first thing. Right? If it's a law, it's a law. That's how it is.
I'm not,
Right?
I'm not
That's the
talking
first
about
thing.
the laws. Talking
second-
about the claim.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. The next thing is the claims that have got the word science or experiment attached to them when they're not, right? If you have performed that method, the scientific method, at the end is an empirical result. Now, that's not going to change. Now, the method also has the word systematic experimentation. That is to say, lots and lots and lots and lots of people verifying it. Yeah? As in, don't just take the word of the man who says that that's been verified by experimentation. Do it yourself and make sure it is. Systematic experimentation. So, given that you've got an empirical result at the end of the actual scientific method, and natural laws don't get superseded, yeah? We're in a position where the people who change their story are pretender clowns. They're just lying. And what John is saying is, once you've declared, for example, the sky is a vacuum, there's no, oh, well, we might just alter that bit of the story. No, that's what you've said it is.
Precisely. There are no take backs. The story's the story, and they're sticking to it. And while they're sticking to it, I'm going to stick them. Thanks.
Looking at sticking
I don't know.
any evidence of, or scientific evidence of gravity. Hey, Ranty. Hey, Ranty.
Now, first, in order to have scientific evidence of something, you first need to know what it actually is.
But that's what he
It has
just said.
to be science.
I'm
That would
just
help.
saying. You know?
No gravity, no pseudo force. They see an effect and they call it gravity, but relative density explains it. It's the brick resting on the ground doing nothing, all of a sudden has a 9.8 meter square force. Yeah, really? How you prove that?
I don't even see how their conceptualization of how gravity is supposedly manifesting is even influencing things. Since there are no forces involved. So it's literally like an ethereal mystery thingy that's supposedly weaved through creation. And they literally nobody even knows what it actually does. It's just a myth of something.
I know. Oh, and I know.
Oh, no.
It's called imagination.
Yeah, conceptualization, correct.
Mytholicism.
The search for gravity goes on.
Hey, that's a new word. I'm almost certain I
Mytholicism.
know what it means, but Mytholicism, I like that.
That's exactly what it is. Mytholicism mixed in with Dunning-Kruger.
Hey, hey,
Hey, Ranty.
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. How are
Good
you?
morning.
Tired of it.
Tired,
Yeah, I bet.
tired. Yeah, I
Long
think it
show.
was about 3:30 when we rounded up.
QE says
Hey.
that show's been turned to private. What's the dealio?
Well, I'm considering my options whether to release it or not. I think it was a little too hot for some people.
I wasn't watching it. I was told about it right late last night. I went back in and it was private. I said, what the heck happened?
Well,
Isn't it happened after I left
I
then?
had 7 emails and 12 Skype messages when I woke up this morning, and every one of them wasn't very complimentary. Let's put it that way.
Why? What's the problem?
What happened?
Well, I can quickly describe what happened. Nathan got really sick of George's bullshit, which he always does, at least at the beginning, then started a giant, very angry rant and tirade against him. Not unjustified at all, in my opinion, although he might have gone a little far here and there. And then George basically responded by going into a weird neurotic shaving fit twice. I really thought the second time he was going to shave his head, but he didn't do it after all.
And Ranty took that down? Come on, Ranty. I didn't watch it. Put that back up.
I think what was it? Saying that you wanted him to die a slow, painful death, and calling him the C word might have been a little over the top there, Nathan.
That's true. That's precisely how I do feel.
Okay.
Men like that
But
deserve
yeah, so
well, I'll just say it again. Men like that deserve misery and pain. That's what he deserves. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, I'm not in the slightest bit ashamed of wearing my emotions towards George right on my sleeve. You know, he absolutely disgusts me.
Yeah.
Well, in the chit chat format,
can we all just get along?
I'll let anything go. But I think with the Globers, with what's going on with FE Core and stuff, I absolutely feel that if I'd have left the video up, they would have put a complaint in and said it was some kind of harassment, bullying, and I probably would have got a strike over it.
Oh, so you're not going to really... Hey, can you send it to me? I won't send it anywhere.
I'll download it and send it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Nathan. I don't know if Anthony wants a copy, but I think the Globers have already downloaded it. So
no, fair enough. No, if that's the case, then I owe you an apology. If I'm potentially putting you in a position where you might get a community strike or something, then I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention at all, Ranty. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's when it was going on, I was thinking this isn't going to go well. It's like and I can understand. I mean, the Globers are angry with what's going on with Celeste Arcane at the minute, and they're wanting to take it out on flat earthers. And to be fair, that would be an ideal opportunity to take it out on my channel for that. So just wasn't going to run the risk on it.
Oh, I see.
Ranty. Hello, Ranty.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Well, hey everybody, how are things? You could just bring it up maybe towards the end of it, maybe, if you're a bit iffy about it, because the end of it was just like with Rumpus and with George and the whole thing with the paragraph.
With the liar Rumpus. Rumpus was on there too. He was trying to have George's back.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it.
Hold on.
I'm going to edit it and re-upload it, but I'm going to cut out all the swear words. So, I mean, I'm going to just... It's going to take me a whole day just to edit out all the swear words. So I'm just going to do that and then re-upload that.
Can you send me
going to be anything left,
Black Label?
Guys, Brian was right in the middle of making a point there. Go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I just towards the end of it, it was only just about Rumpus and what happened with Anthony and the paragraph that he left out. We had him put back up the paragraph, and we went through the paragraph and what it meant. And he tried to give his defense of it, and we gave our offense of it. And also, as well as that, later on, George was kind of asserting mass attracting mass, and what Rumpus had put up earlier in the night about the paragraph that completely contradicted what George was showing, and George got caught out on that. And Rumpus also said that the MK1 fire computer that was used in the World War II ships, he said that took Coriolis into account, and he sent a Wikipedia link. And when you look through the Wikipedia link, it only talks about pitch and roll of the ship, moving objects on the sea, and aircraft, anti-aircraft. And there was nothing about Coriolis in it. And we put that up at the end.
Clown.
Rumpus does that shit all the time.
Rumpus, I'm gonna have a Rumpus week on my channel, and guess what? You remember that little debate back in 2016? Yeah, you remember that you thought was deleted? It wasn't. You clown, you. Everyone's going to see, well, everyone already knows you should be institutionalized, but they're going to see back in 2016 that you should have packed up and left town, brother. What a clown, Mr. Air's not the atmosphere. Can't wait. Ranty, I want the Black Label copy of that video. I want everything in it, please. Thanks.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
You look so arrogant.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No, there's no scientific evidence of gravity.
Yeah,
Can I ask
of the
Brian a
phenomenon.
question, please, before we move
There's
on?
evidence of the phenomenon of gravity, yeah.
Shut up, Don. I got to ask Brian a question because I didn't watch the video last night. How in the
Yes, Kiwi.
world did Rumpus pull up the citation, the entire citation, both sentences? How did he try to get around that?
He tried to say that how that was is he tried to say that it wasn't contradicting, that the second half didn't contradict the first half of the paragraph. And I pointed out to him that it did. And he said, so you're telling me that Julian Bloomfield, the astrophysicist guy, he said, you're telling me that he contradicted himself in the same paragraph. I said, yeah. And I said, pull up the paragraph. And when he did, I showed him that he contradicted himself. Julian Bloomfield contradicted himself on purpose because he was trying to, and I said, the reason is he was trying to show you, I said, pointing at you, Rumpus, and other people like Rumpus, who believe that mass is attracting mass, that it's not.
No.
That it's the curvature of space-time.
No.
That's what I said.
Julian Bloomfield didn't contradict himself in that. Hold up. Let me go
I
get it real
thought
quick.
from reading it, what I got from it was that he did it on purpose to show he didn't, not against himself, but to show that it's not a force.
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm getting there. 1 second. Okay, Julian Bloomfield. This isn't a contradiction. Let me read this. Julian Bloomfield, PhD physics. So to summarize, general relativity says that matter bends space-time, and the effect of that bending of space-time is to create a generalized kind of force that acts on objects. However, keyword, it isn't a force as much that acts on the object, but rather just the object following its geodesic path through space-time. That's not a contradiction. That's a juxtaposition and a hammering of the first premise. What, are these people illiterate too? Where's the contradiction in that?
Well, I thought it was a case of he literally contradicted himself within the same paragraph on purpose to teach people like Rumpus that gravity is not force.
No, there is no contradiction here.
Okay.
Not what I just read. Can somebody point out the contradiction?
You can in a second. MC Universe Sacred Truth Keeper, shout out to you for hitting the super chat. All George did was mute Nathan with non-stop talking. Yeah, I agree. But, you know, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
I'm waiting for Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, I'm just saying my interpretation from reading it and what I said to Rumpus was that what he was trying to say was that in the first part, talking about how it creates a generalized kind of force, but however, it isn't a force at the end. I thought he was literally on purpose, contradicting himself to teach people who think it is still mass attracting mass, that it's not mass attracting. That's what I thought it was, and that's what I said to Rumpus. I said to Rumpus, you're not understanding what he's writing. That was my interpretation of it.
Yeah, this is 4th grade reading comprehension skills. The key word, however. Do people know what however means? He was creating a juxtaposition. Right?
Like it was a follow-on from the previous sentence. However, that's what it means.
Yeah, it's a conclusion because this is a summary. The last sentence is a conclusion. So
yeah, anything in a paragraph is about the same subject.
Yes, this is 4th grade reading it might be lower. I'm not seeing it. Can somebody else point out the contradiction?
I think the contradiction that Brian's perceiving, now I've had to think about it for a few minutes, if you don't mind, Brian, is that the utilization of the quote mind quote is to assert that gravity is a force. So out of context, you can spin that in the way Rumpus did to say that it is a force. But when you have the entirety of the context of the quote in its entirety, it no longer represents itself in that way. As you say, it then becomes a juxtaposition between the first premise and the conclusion. Well, that's not a contradiction. It's only a contradiction when taken out of context by Rumpus and then compared to the full context of the entire quote.
Yeah, that's correct. But the
semantics.
But the paragraph itself is not a contradiction. So.
Yeah, whoever said that's correct.
Morning,
Yes,
guys.
this is semantics. Yes, that's correct. Whoever said that.
Can you guys?
Yeah, semantics. Yeah, words,
again,
they do mean things.
Something none of you know about and study.
Yeah,
yourselves.
words, they do mean things.
Arguing
Right?
semantics about someone else's theory.
We use words in science very precisely.
Chocolate has
Don't
a new
overtalk
avatar.
me.
Chocolate has no avatar.
Yeah, an actual chocolate saying.
You hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Is it a chocolate airwolf?
Yes, chocolate airwolf. Yes,
Yeah.
chocolate sayings, full effect.
It does
What's up,
kind of
guys?
sound like you're in a helicopter cockpit.
Yeah, I don't have
Sunset
my
evident.
good headphones, so
On the
I won't be talking
on the
very
stream,
much.
Nathan.
Fair enough. Go, John, say again.
Nice sunset evidence of hard horizon on the stream.
Nice sunset. Thanks.
Dawn's back.
Blatant obstruction of the sun on Nathan's stream live.
It's a photograph. It's not live.
Where did the bomb go?
Into the diffraction limit.
You've got 83 made up reasons for where the bomb went. I know. We're
Maybe
listing
one.
them and writing them down
Maybe
as you
one.
make them up
Yeah.
over the
Diffraction
last
limit.
year.
Diffraction limit. There you go.
90% of the ones on the list are completely made up terms. The other 10% are terms that don't relate to obstruction
All
in
right,
any way.
go through each one. Generalized baseless assertion fallacy. Number 1. Go ahead.
First one's perspective
Don.
from memory. Perspective's the first one on the list. Is that
Angle
a
of
made-up
attack.
word?
That's one of my favourite ones that has
Top
nothing
one's
to do with
perspective.
obstruction at all.
Top one's perspective. Is that a made-up word?
What
Don,
about
maybe you can help your
rectilinear
ballers in
curvature?
the Discord.
What about that one?
Hold
I
on.
asked them for a
Hold on. Let
sunset
him
from a
go.
plane.
Let him
Nothing
go.
to do
Number
with
1,
obstruction
Don.
whatsoever.
Everyone's rumpusing everyone. Hold on. Just
Hold
go
on, Don. Number 1. What's the first one? You're going to have to support your claims or be a village idiot. So, number 1. What's the first one?
Perspective is the first one I ever heard.
Okay, perspective. What's wrong with
Nothing
perspective?
to do with obstruction whatsoever.
And
It's a term that doesn't relate to what you're trying to explain, but
Yeah, it
that's
does.
the
Okay.
first thing you used to explain it.
okay,
Yeah, it does.
good enough. Show
That's retarded.
cowbell.
That's
What,
retarded.
things get too small to see?
Hold on. Claim and then support. Now
I've
you're
got
being
another
asked
one
for your
on the
support of your
list.
claim, Dawn.
Into the diffraction limit.
No, we're still on perspective.
Completely made up term.
I'm gonna have to go in.
What?
Doesn't mean
You mean
anything.
a technical spec that is on actual cameras?
Hold on. Will we get any support for this? You're saying no, perspective doesn't in any way, shape or form contribute to things disappearing from bottom up. Now you need to support your claim. So what's your support for that?
The whole world of knowledge, the internet.
Oh, that ain't
my
gonna
art
make it, son.
college
Not
education.
support.
That ain't gonna make it. I'm sorry.
Not
My
support,
art
Dawn.
college education, my granddad's drawings. The
Okay.
definition of perspective.
Oh, okay. What's
Yeah.
that?
Have a good time. Next
I
time when
asked
you
the
come back.
ballers. I asked the
Next time
ballers
when
in
you-
Discord to show me a sunset from a plane, and they still haven't provided.
Okay,
seen a
next
sunset from a
time when
plane.
you come back, Dawn.
Hold on. I've seen
I
a sunset.
haven't.
You're good.
I haven't
I've seen
seen
a
footage
sunset
of
from a
it.
plane. I've seen that.
Like it cutting from bottom. I wanted to see that. Have you seen it?
Heading from bottom up.
Yeah. Because usually, like when people look at the sunset from like a drone, it just like fades into the distance. It doesn't
Yeah,
really
I'm not
cut
gonna.
from the bottom up.
I'm not gonna claim I've seen that. The cutting off from
That's
bottom up.
because, if I may explain a little, because the observer height is so high, the actual optical slant effect, that's what I call it, is so far away that before you actually even get to see the effect at the horizon from your observer point at that height, first things simply get blurred out from a lack of air clarity over distance, which always happens if enough distance is in between you and where you're looking at.
Excellent, excellent. I'll just rephrase that slightly though. So the angular resolution limit of the ground that you can see in reference to the sun is greater than the atmospheric interference or anything else that may make the sun disappear, according to Arwin. In other words, what he calls what did you call it? The angular slant? I forgot what you call it. Optical slant.
The optical slant point.
Yeah, the optical slant.
Where the apparent horizon is first seen.
Right, or AKA the diffraction limit. In other words, you can see a lot further from higher up, therefore the sun might disappear before the diffraction limit, because it's higher than the diffraction limit, which is your apparent horizon from the air. Correct, Darwin?
Right, I'm presenting the old picture again.
Oh, okay. Is this an eyeball on a stick? Oh,
yeah,
I
it's the eyeball on a stick again.
That's great.
Right. So yeah, if the observer height of the eyeball in this case is so high that the optical slant point, which has a linear correlation where that manifests in relation to the observer height, just becomes so far away that you never really get to see it because the obstruction from lack of air clarity sets in first. That's what happens.
Well, that's why I made that argument in Discord.
The circle of confusion, the miraging distortion thingies only really happen if the observer is close enough to the ground in order for those effects to manifest before the lack of air clarity blurs it all up.
Right, so being close to the ground gives you a greater degree of angular limitation because the ground is obviously going to interfere with the wideness of your angle when looking across it, whereas higher up that's going to be less of a problem.
Yes.
Awesome. It's like the good old days, eh?
Yeah.
Long live Isle of Man.
Could I say something there? Oh, sorry, Nathan.
Go ahead, I'm done. I was just praising Isle of Man debates and
I have a snippet. It's kind of funny. You know how I've been watching that stupid series, the Big Bang Theory? Well, there's a series in that kind of a sub thingy where he's dealing with flags, and the actual flag of Isle of Man came up too. How's that?
Wow, that's cool. I forgot how you say it now. Triskelion, I think is how you say it. The 3 legs.
Yes, exactly that one.
Go on, Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick small statement about obstruction. As the globe side always see obstruction as one thing only, as physical obstruction. But there's 2 obstructions. There's a physical obstruction, which will be physical and visual. But then there's just visual obstruction. So Dawn was speaking about obstruction a while ago. Obstruction is twofold. It could be physical and visual or just visual. So obstruction happens in both ways. That's it.
Yeah, in other words, your waves could physically, as they rise up to the midpoint of your camera, due to perspective, the physical wave itself could obscure the midpoint. That would be a physical obstruction, as opposed to something just getting too small to see because it's too far.
The physical wave and the midpoint. Oh my god.
Midpoint, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bigger lesson here, Don, and all the ballers. If you come in here and you're making claims and they're baseless assertions, you have no point, then you need to go somewhere else. Maybe go over to Jose's Retards channel, okay? But we're interested in claim support. Claim support, okay? Thanks.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's Chocolate Airwolf.
Awesome. Yes.
I got a question for Don.
Was Brian
Don?
waiting? Hold on. I'm sure Brian was waiting to say something.
You're not going to get your question to Don in.
No, Nathan, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay.
Sorry, go ahead, 10th man.
Yeah. So Don,
No,
if
you
it's
ain't going to ask Don anything. Don's
Why
not going to
not?
respond to you.
all right, well, let me try. So Don, if it's not what the panel says it is, what
Jeez,
is
oh
it?
man.
Are you saying it's the curvature that the Earth is falling away? Is that what you're saying?
Did I unmute him?
Well-
Oh, he's gone.
Well, there you go.
I know, he is here.
I'm on mute.
Okay.
Just so you
So
know,
what
I'm
is
on
it, Don? Is it the curvature and the Earth is falling away? Is that what you think it is?
This is about claiming support, so I'm going to need some.
But you're the one saying that it's not perspective. So what is it?
think
the
I'm
Earth
fighting.
actually
Is
falling
it
away?
curvature?
I'm fighting to keep him into the conversation, but Kiwi definitely doesn't want him talking. I don't blame him. He's just got nothing to really offer.
Curvature.
No, I
Curvature.
want him to say, if it's not perspective and angular and diffraction, what is it?
I'm going to need some support for your claims that the Earth's flat and that the Earth has a container. I'm afraid.
No,
It's
answer.
just-
If you're saying it's not perspective and things don't get smaller the further they go away, but they're actually going over the curve, why don't you just say it?
claim and support. So support your
No, I'm
claims,
asking
guys.
you. I'm asking you, do you believe it's curvature?
This is the Flat Earth Show. Your claim.
Ha 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 ha. So QE was right. You're too embarrassed to say it's the curvature.
He doesn't understand the claim that
No, he's
that he's
moving
making a
on.
claim.
no, he's embarrassed because he knows he's going to get eaten up.
So, moving on.
Yes, let's move on because
Is there anybody
he's
better than
embarrassed.
Dawn to have these conversations with?
No, I think he's a coward, and I think he's embarrassed about his globe. He can't stand for it as we stand for our flat Earth. Shame on you.
I'm still curious what gravity actually is.
What's gravity?
Yeah, I did a whole defense of it, and it turns out in the end, I don't even know what it really is.
No, you do
How
know.
about that?
No, you do know.
Maybe
You
I
know
need
that-
to do a second run, the investigation. What is gravity?
When claiming the
Why?
things we see, they would assert Newtonian gravity, out-of-date gravity, and assert that it's the forced repositioning in equilibrium of something that has been forced into disequilibrium. That's what they call Newtonian gravity in terms
Yeah,
of the
but
effect
at least
that it
there's
leaves
somewhat
on.
of an earthly claim laid into that. The Einsteinian thing, don't even know what they're claiming.
Yeah, right. Well, you've got to take that
Literally don't
nonsense
know.
out of reality and push it into the conceptual, right?
I don't understand the claim. What is gravity doing again? If it's not a force, how is that leading to matter clinging into a ball shape? If it's not a force, how is it happening? What is the bending of space-time? What would the
Nothing.
bending of space-time do if it were to be real? I don't get the
Nothing.
claim.
It's
It's
Catholicism.
imaginary belief. Let's go.
Doesn't exist. Concept ain't doing nothing.
No, but it's worse than that. If it were to be real, what would it do? I don't get the claim. It's literally
They don't.
just
Arlen,
walking
they don't
over
get the
into
claim.
a black hole mid-sentence.
They don't get
I
the
don't get
claim.
the
It's their claim. That's the problem.
Hoping this won't cause a row, Arwin, but this was the tact I took last time, but you were a bit less concise in your what you don't understand bit. So last time I was like, well, if you've got me trying to explain to you how the time dilation in Narnia works, and it is analogous, a conceptual place, Narnia, and a concept of a change in the way that life is presenting itself. Although it all appears normal on screen in Narnia, there's a very real time dilation issue, isn't there? The kids, when they come back through the wardrobe, they're still kids, even though they've grown old in Narnia. Well, I can try and explain that to you till I'm blue in the face, but it's still taking place in a place that doesn't exist.
Right.
So it really doesn't
But
matter.
at least I understand that claim. It is somehow some kind of physical related claim. I don't understand what the claim is at all with Einsteinian gravity. I just don't get what they're supposed to be saying. And not because I don't get it because I'm too stupid, but because there doesn't seem to be a real claim there that actually ties into anything physical. Just doesn't make any sense.
Well, conceptual, which is how it's described, means not real. So it's never going to tie into anything physical.
No, that's not what I said.
I'm not saying you said that.
If it's
I'm
a
saying,
concept, it can still relate to actual physical things conceptually, but it doesn't do that. That's the issue.
well, there are some things that Nathan talked about, I don't know, it was a couple of shows ago, where you could, there's no axial rotation, but there's an axis. Okay, because you can experience an axis, but there's no axial rotation. So there's conceptual in the broader sense, and then there's conceptual that you can't tie to physical.
Yeah, but
That's
when
what I'm
somebody says axial rotation, you at least can sort of visualize what they're meaning, what they're implying. I can't with this Einsteinian
No
gravity.
one can.
I don't get
Hold on.
Why?
Let me just...
Why are you trying to get something that you're not supposed to get? No,
No,
one
that was a
can.
good example, 10th Man. So I'll just paraphrase what 10th Man said, Arwen. So he's saying, with axial rotation, the concept of that physical thing that you can experience being transposed onto a sphere Earth is something that you can take those those conceptual steps to see it in your mind's eye. Yeah?
Yes.
You understand what they're claiming, what the end result is, what an axis is. Well, what 10th Man's saying is that's something that's been taken from an actual to a concept about something. Well, this isn't a concept about something that's an actual to begin with. The entire medium, space-time, is conceptual, like Narnia. So you're never going to get to the stage where you can compare it to the physical and actual, because that's not what it is.
Right. But people seem to think it is.
You can
What
think
it
of it as
actually
being
does
physical.
is close off.
Now
gravity.
you're talking like Musa.
It
You're getting
closes
there, man.
it off. It
You went-
closes the window.
You're 2 steps off being able to bullshit like Musa. You're so close.
Share your pain.
It's a magical force.
I was like, yeah, but people
It's
think
not
of
a
it
force,
as it.
It's not anything. It
Well,
that's
doesn't
what
relate
Mister
to
said.
anything.
Some subtle. Hold on, let me just get it in.
physical.
Just some subtle changes, Arwen. Instead of people think of it, if you just change that to, but you could think of it as a real medium, you'd be there, man. You could be an astrophysicist.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that kind of job, but thanks anyway.
They
Pays good.
actually think time does something.
Yeah, but that conclusion cannot be drawn from the actual data. That's purely
course.
fabricated
Because-
in the mind of the people
course.
wanting to see sense in it somehow.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's right, Arwen.
It
That's correct.
It is it stands out from the other arguments. The other arguments have actual claims about physical reality. This one does not. Makes it pretty unique compared to the rest.
No, I'll give you one. I'll
share
give you
your
one.
pain. Keep going. It's cathartic.
It's great.
I'll give you one, Arwen. The Earth is obviously
There was a-
observably. The Earth is
Sorry,
obviously.
time out.
I can't
Let me
hear
finish.
Hold on, 10th man, you're getting... Hold on, Brian, we will come to you.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one right here, Arwen. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. I could take a baller with me, go outside and say, do you see it spinning? Do you feel it spinning? He'll say no. But what does he believe?
What does that have to do with it?
The
Yeah, that was rubbish.
physical versus the make-believe, the magic.
Yeah,
Magically-
I know that's what they do. I'm just
I'm just
pointing at
telling
it
you
and
that-
saying, look, this argument doesn't even have any claims about physical reality. That
And
makes
I'm
it pretty
saying
standing
even-
out compared to the rest, how deep the delusion
And I'm
goes. It's so deep that people are literally forced to somehow imagine a physical connection with it to reality because it is claimed officially to be that. Yet it gives no hint as to how it does that. So people literally fantasize it. They are forced to fantasize it if they want to go with it. That's what's happening.
Is anything what I said getting to you? I'm saying that when you are in the physical earth and you say to me, not you,
Yeah.
Arwen, not you, Arwen, just hear
We're
me
not
out.
on
I
the
listen
same
to-
level
Hold
here.
on, Arwen.
Well, I listen to you, so please
do you?
listen to me.
So,
I waited until you were finished.
oh, but that's not the same thing. That's
Oh,
what ballers
wait,
do too.
just-
Waiting
Arwen,
till
come
they're-
on,
the
you're just
others
rumpusing him
finish.
now. Come on.
Arwen, please. I am saying that a baller here on the physical earth will say, no, I don't see the curve and I don't feel the move, but I believe it. What am I saying? That he can have physical proof of the opposite, like Dawn, and still live in Narnia.
Yeah,
That's all
I
I'm
know.
saying.
I know. That's what
Okay,
it all is.
You're in
so-
agreement.
Except for
Hold on,
gravity,
both
though.
of you calm
Let me
down.
round
Except for gravity,
Ah,
because
both
they
of
don't
you,
tell
hold
you
on.
what you're supposed to
Both
be
of you,
believing.
Arwen and
You're
10th
gonna have to
man.
dream it up
Hold
yourself.
on, hold on.
Why are
You're in agreement.
being all
That's the end.
crazy
You're in
about
agreement.
Concept.
You're both in agreement. That's great.
Yes.
So that's it. You're in agreement. Brian,
Exactly.
go ahead.
Exactly. The retardation
thanks,
is so
Nathan.
big.
A video I watched
Hold
yesterday.
on, Brian.
I think someone shared it in
Brian.
Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you immediately. I think 10th Man wants to make a concluding point. Go ahead, 10th Man.
Yeah, the retardation of the ballers is so complete and deep that even if you had a physical proof they live in Narnia, and when they want to live in Narnia with no physical proof, conceptual time space, they do both.
Right on, cognitive dissonance. Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks, Nathan. A video I watched yesterday, someone posted it in Master B's this morning, I think. Is this lady speaking about how Einstein's gravity, theory of gravity is wrong because it doesn't hold up in the face of quantum mechanics. And they're trying to come up with a new gravity. And basically what she was speaking about was basically, I think she called it the new gravity of relativity, or something like that. But basically how I think it's going to go is they're going to concede on the relative density and just keep moving gravity off out into bigger things out in space. And that way they get to keep gravity and kind of concede on relative density, which they won't do straight away, but they will do it, I believe, but they can't not. And I believe that when they do that, they're going to keep gravity. It's like damage control. You have to keep on coming up with a new gravity. If you can't prove something that isn't there, all you can do is change your story about it.
Sounds like you and I have a similar mind in this regard. So if I said to you, Brian, do you believe that this is what we're involved in now, just a slow paradigm shift being trickled into the general populace? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Yeah, that's my feelings on it too. I like what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's what it is. They're figuring out how to smear the next layer of bullshit onto gravity, basically, and some of these discussions are going to be quite useful for that. I smile. I shouldn't. It should piss me off, but I'm so used to it.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, I reckon it's in a direct correlation to your show, Flat Earth Debate. That they're basically using that as a yardstick of what they're going to have to create, because what's been said on this show for the past couple of years is what they can't disprove. So they need to come up with something else. So they need to find a way of conceding and gaining at the same time, like damage control. It's game of chess, you know.
Yeah, just keeping that forest fire under control as much as they possibly can, as far as I can tell. The floodgates have been opened, in my opinion.
Sorry, Nathan, I missed the last part.
I just said the floodgates are open. They were open in 2015.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I have a bigger theory that, or let's say concept, that the NASA, how they're going to deal with NASA when they just can't prove space, is they're going to say that, well, what it was is that we thought it was a globe, but we couldn't get out there because our rockets wouldn't work. But we kept on thinking we were going to get out there, and we never did. Then we found out that it wasn't a globe, and what could we? And we're sorry. Something along those lines.
Nah, that's just one of those media rules. Never apologise. So they're not going to make any concessions and apologies for any sort of misleading. You know, they're more than happy to just stick it down the memory hole. You know, they'll just change a specific detail one day, and that will just be how it remains.
Yeah.
And people are.
Yes.
You know, it's like in 1984, literally. They'll change a very fundamental detail about who's at war with who, and the following day people go, yeah, it was always Oceania at war. Well, what? Some people reject it for a day or two, and then they just get on with it after a week because it's not in the news anymore, and that's just how it is. Well, while that's a bit overt, you know, the transition is probably what we're involved in. In other words, it's not just a literally chuck it down a memory hole, and because that wouldn't work. You've got to have a certain amount of transition. Oh well, hello, Alan.
Hello, boys. How are we doing?
Very well. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Sunning it up in Singapore.
Is that where you are?
The return of Alan B. Look at that.
Singapore.
Exactly, wow. Mr. Chocolate.
What's up, man?
Have you missed me?
It must be absolutely sweltering in Singapore right now. Beautiful place.
Yeah. I heard you bought an Alan Partridge car.
An Alan Partridge car?
A Lexus.
Is that an Alan Partridge car? I didn't know that. I'm not a massive Alan Partridge fan.
The sales rep's choice.
Yeah, it's a repmobile. It's cheap, reliable Japaneseness. Very dull. You can take the piss all you like, I don't care.
But didn't you buy an £800 car and spend 3,000 on it?
Yeah, I did it up nice. I wanted it to be pretty.
Why didn't you buy a £3,000 car, a newer one, and spend 800 on it?
I didn't have £3,000. I had £850. So that's what I spent, because that's precisely what I had. So that's the amount I had in my bank. I went and withdrew to the limit, cash, £850, which is what I had to purchase on the car. And then over a prolonged period, maybe 6 weeks, I spent money on it as I could acquire the money to spend on it. That's just how it works out when you're poor.
Must be making a good living from the old flat earth then?
Not really. I had an investment trust that we cashed out that was worth £2,000.
Yeah, I thought you were doing quite well on Patreon.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm doing all right. I get about $700 out of Patreon. Very big shout out. That's why I shout them out daily. You know, yes, they're keeping me going. Thank you very much to all the people who do support me on Patreon. But yeah.
Yes, hit that super cash.
Hit that super cash. Indeedy do.
Is Sam Hain turned up? He's a big donor.
Sam Hain, yeah, it's good super smasher.
Ranty loves him, apparently.
I'm sure he does. So about Singapore, beautiful place. It's always trying to be taken back over by the environment, though. Like the jungle is constantly trying to take the place over.
To say it's warm and humid would be an understatement.
Yeah, that was exactly my experience there.
Can I just say,
but pretty.
I absolutely love Sam Hain. There we go. Absolutely love it. When he comes in and he smashes the super chat, it's great. Thanks for reminding me about that, Alan.
Yeah, well, that money can go towards decorating one in 5 bedrooms, Ranty.
He made a shout out to me yesterday. That was awesome on Ranty's
Sorry to interrupt you.
channel.
Just quick shout out to Mind of God. He says, great channel. Thank you very much for the super chat. Mind of God. Yeah, beautiful. One of those beautiful places ever. Where you are right now. Idyllic.
Yes, and I've just ordered some pork soup.
Yeah, good food too in Singapore.
Yep. That's nice.
Just a shame about all the prostitution.
Well, you're one to speak.
I'm not a prostitute.
I bet you've missed this, haven't you?
It's a good bit of banter.
Listen, what Nathan does on the weekends is his business, all right?
Look,
I'm
definitely not a prostitute.
Well, he kind of prostitutes himself out to Effie and
There's a difference between a whore and a prostitute.
Smash the super chat.
Smashing the super chat
A
makes me a
part-time
whore,
gigolo.
not a prostitute.
Where is QE?
I'm sure he hears you.
How's Alwyn doing? Still got the Daily Show where you eat things?
You were there, weren't you?
Yeah. Turns on his computer and eats stuff.
And talks about
The
stuff.
early bird now, I think.
I've missed 200 shows, Alwyn.
Yeah. It's not mutual.
Do you want us to update you?
Well, I guess I missed the difficult guy period. What was his name? Who never believed in anything? Slim Jim or something.
Oh, Slick James.
Yes, he's fantastic, isn't he?
Yeah, I always liked Slick James. He got a bit misogynistic towards the end. Not that I personally experienced it firsthand, but I heard plenty of information about it. But yeah, I mean, on the show, I liked him a lot. I think he's a great guy. He'd be welcome back if he came today. I'd say hello and welcome him like I'd welcome anybody else.
So what's happened? I've missed 300 shows, Nathan. What's happened since?
You want to be updated? Okay. Well, the sky is not a vacuum because the gas would fill the space. So any fundamentalist religious assertions about outer space and satellites and travelling to the moon, all that goes out the window when you point out that space is analogous to Narnia. You know, a region that can't exist, that's just made up. So that's that. Can't have gas pressure without a container. Space is fake. Been no evidence at all of Earth curvature. Constant reifications of the horizon, the arbitrary position where the sky meets the ground, into an Earth curve edge. We see that quite a lot. told to measure how much it dips and things to give you R values. R values still presupposed, begging the question fallacy that's applied at nausea almost with every single claim to be globe proof. So that's that. What else? Paul Voigt, you won't be surprised about this one. Paul Voigt still hasn't come up with any evidence for a molten iron core that self-perpetuates. So that probably
has he been on the show since that claim?
No, that was the end of Paul Voigt.
And since then, from your side, we've discovered that air is not the atmosphere. We've discovered that SHU can be a natural observed phenomenon. We've discovered that you can prove Coriolis with a hot tub that's rotating with torpedoes.
Don't forget the accelerating coffee cups.
Oh, and my coffee cup that's sitting on the table is now accelerating. So these
Oh,
are the
don't
things
forget
that
the
we've
double
learned from the globe side.
A hot tub with torpedoes.
Yeah, we're not even joking either, unfortunately. There's been
that sounds like one of Spurs' videos.
It was Zanuck.
Nope.
You may not know Zanuck.
Where is Spurs?
Spurs has been on a one-man mission to
that's the other
disprove
one you
gas
missed.
pressure.
He's in a bit of a mesh.
A mesh?
Spurs is basically trying to debunk the fact that you're breathing right now. So yeah.
Oh, so we got a break. Hey, can I get a shameless plug-in?
Can get a shameless plug-in, but just before you do, I just wanted to tell one last thing. So we've had some strange allegiances as well, Alan. So we've had conspiracy cats in regards to, well, the vacuum of space, again, being bunk. You know, without the container, there can be no pressure, end quote, conspiracy cats 2019. Wiggles, you may remember, quote, the gas would fill the space, end quote, Wiggles 2019. And then most recently, George Netanyahu, in principle, the gas could occupy all of space, end quote. So we've got quite a few allegiances in regards to the fakeness of space from the ball side. That's about the only other thing I can think of to update you. There's probably
anything from Fight the Flat Earth?
Oh yeah, Fight the Flat Earth has claimed that he's measured the distance to the sun. Just a liar.
Did he use sticks?
He did it when he was an itch in his dad's pants.
That was our reaction too, Alan.
Did he do it with his gut? Did he get Tim Osman shut down?
That was a claim, right? When anyone says that, most recently, I'm immediately going to take it away from who you focused on because I don't want to know where you're going with it. But recently, Anthony claimed that Brenda had copyright struck him for something that he had upon his channel that potentially violated a community guideline. And I was immediately going, you can't prove that's Brenda. And in the same way, Tim Osman cannot prove it's anybody. You know, so while he might claim that the Globeheads were the people strike him in that instance, and they might have even said they're going to in Discord, it doesn't mean that's the reason why, or there's a specific individual you can lay the blame at. But feel free to go ahead and make your point, and then QE will do his plug.
No, I wasn't making a point. I'm simply catching up. I mean, you
fair
do
enough.
get to see the person's name if you put a counterclaim in.
Yeah,
because
no, that's
YouTube
different.
put aside at that
No,
point.
that's wrong. If
Is
you've
it?
got no, that's incorrect. So if you've got a copyright claim, so for the sake of argument, let's say you take 10-minute chunk of this show unedited and just stick it on your channel. Even if you did an intro and outro to it, I could come along and say, right, from this minute to this minute is a completely unedited chunk of my material. I will copyright strike this person. Then you will get to see my name, my address, my phone number, all of my communication details, in case, as I've had to do in the past, you get involved with actual solicitors and actual courts. Well, that is a copyright strike. A community guideline strike, however, you're not going to find out who's done that. You get a community guideline strike based on whether or not you've breached community guidelines. That's YouTube's community guidelines as opposed to copyright. But so you wouldn't get that info from a community guideline strike.
Well,
QE.
that's me caught up.
It is. QE, go ahead. You plug away.
Yeah, so at 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, 8 p.m. UK on Quantum Eraser Channel. Today, I think it's Slick James Johnson and Anon getting taken to the woodshed. It's PG. Parental guidance suggested kind of some strong language. So be there at Quantum Eraser Channel or B Sphere. Thanks.
Be here or B Sphere. On the Quantum Eraser channel, be here or B Sphere. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to all of today's live debating panel. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!